What's good and welcome everybody. It's your boy Vexus, the lurking legend. Y'all can just call me Vex, head cook of the Eternal Dawn, and welcome. I am super hyped to bring a very spicy, very agenda-fueled stream along with the rest of the crew to you all. Thank you so much for being in chat. Make sure you guys like the stream. Check out all the links in the description. Without further ado, we are gonna announce the contenders. In this corner, we have the historian of the Eternal Dawn himself. Everybody in the chat, give a very warm and happy birthday to Kube of the Red Sea. How you doing today, brother?
Hey man, I'm excited. As you know, I'm Kube, the reading legend, and I'm excited for the stream. Wish Blue will win. Let's go.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. And then in this corner, we have one of my best friends in the entire planet, like community and universe and of all time. We have the captain of the Eternal Dawn himself. Hope you are ready to spit your agendas. We have Straw Hat Lucas. How you doing today, brother?
I'm doing great, and I have a fire in my soul that's shouting, the South Blue is the best blue. So let's get into it.
Oh yeah, let's get into it indeed. Before we get into all of the spice and we lay out kind of what we're going to be doing this stream, we got one more goat, the absolute goat, the newest member of the Eternal Dawn, somebody who we could not do it without. We have Knack Reacts himself, the helmsman of the Eternal Dawn. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing fantastic. What are you guys at? I'm ready to make my case for the West Blue being the best blue.
Oh dang, bars right out the
like
gate.
a worse blue.
Okay, so chat, I see you guys showing some love. Mad shout out to Ghost Train of Thought. We had him on a fire stream not too long ago, talking about the mural, talking about ancient weapons and whatnot. I love your answer, but the all blue is not in competition today. We are battling of the blues. We are figuring out which is the strongest C. We've got North represented by ya boy, myself, Vexus, and then we have the East blue being represented and defended by Kube of the Red Sea. We have Straw Hat Lucas. Yep. Defending the South Blue. Major shout out. He's got his work cut out.
South Side.
And then
Who is man?
South Side.
Then we have the West Blue, the self-proclaimed best blue, but we shall see. Defended best by blue. Knack. So as you can see by the way the compass points on this overlay that we've got, that we're each gonna kind of spit our takes, our cases, our reasons. This is not purely power scaling based, but that is on the table. We can bring up power scaling, but chat, we are gonna want you all at the end of the stream, after we each spit our cases and we open up for just general discussion, we're gonna ask you all to decide which blue is in fact the best blue, the strongest C, the best vacation spot, whatever have you. We're gonna ask you guys at the end of it. But without further ado, yeah, we're gonna get right into it. Who do we think should be going first? Captain, you want to decide? Do you want to go first? How do you want to do this?
I'm not sure. It's an open debate, basically, right? So
I can launch.
We'll give a platform, like an uninterrupted.
If you're feeling confident.
Yeah, we'll give Knack an uninterrupted, indeterminate period of time where he can make his case, and then we'll open it up for us to shoot down some of his claims, and then we'll move on to the next person, open it up for us to shoot down their claims, and vice versa. And once we've got all four covered, we'll do a full open forum.
Sounds fantastic.
Okay,
so
Knack,
the case I'm going to make today is the West Blue is the best place to live in the One Piece universe. We have absolute peak protection. We have Isho, the admiral from the West Blue. The dude can haul down meteors. We have Shanks, also known as one of the strongest in the verse, hailing from the West, self-proclaimed hailing from the West Blue. Yeah. And we have the genius herself, Robin. So we have these top-level commanders that guard everything. They make sure everything is safe. But we also have some of the heaviest hitters in the game. We have, Gecko Moria and Hogback combo. I mean, nobody's dying. Everybody's good to go. You know, if somebody dies, they just get their shadow back and, you know, stay inside for the rest of the time. And we have excellent transportation. We have Banshee. I don't know if you remember him, but he is the all-terrain turtle that could go anywhere. And we have and we also have San Juan Wolf and Laboon. We literally have the 3 areas covered. There's nothing we can't do. I mean, we're not real well versed in flying, but you don't need to fly anywhere because where would you want to go? We have the 3 mafia families who have an excellent trade system. They provide security and you know, sustenance for all of our people. And I think I've basically made my case. If somebody comes to invade us, we have a long list of legends. We have Brook, Jozu, Sai, Dazbones, Prince Groose, Corona, Morley. I mean, I'm not too worried about any incoming threats, but I'm sure you guys have something up your sleeve. For all that, though, Lafitte is our master at telling us what's on the upcoming horizon, and we can prepare for anything you got. And with that, that is my case.
I have a question.
I do as well, but go ahead. Q.
Why, after 50 years of being abandoned, Laboon never went back to the West Blue? Maybe it's not that great. Just saying.
You can't play on a man's trauma like this.
Let me ask you a question. Where's your economic structure? What is produced within the West Blue?
Oh, I'm happy you asked. We have all kinds of alcohol. We have this fantastic sake that's produced in Shank's hometown. And we also have the trade routes managed by the 5 mafia families who run through the Grand Line and to all the colonies that are run by the Celestial Dragons.
Okay, yes, but so these trade routes set up by the mafia, do they benefit the common people or just the Celestial Dragons?
A good economy helps everyone. That's the baseline of
That's a solid answer. But I don't think it's good enough, my man. See, the first counter argument here, the South Blue has Wappa Metal, which, as we know, is one of the, like, not only does it produce toy and joy for all the children of the South Blue, but also is used in some of the best inventions that we've seen in the series so far, including my main man from South Blue,
I don't think
Cyborg
you have the
Frankie.
infrastructure to produce enough for your people.
It's what do you mean? All Wapple has to do is eat enough material to produce the Wapple Metal.
So your people are starving?
Yeah, no, of course not. The Waffle Metal sells that much. It's trickle down economics. Come on,
Okay,
now, Nick.
but this isn't.
Everyone knows that works.
This isn't the time to like spit for the South Blue though. It's the time to specifically take down the West Blue, right? So I feel like that's like conjecture.
Yeah. There's also
Is it?
Fair.
there's other
Answer the question,
allegations.
Nick.
There's other allegations also, Nick. Is it true that West Blue is also where Lapsam also comes from? I see that, so just wondering.
Ooh.
He said we don't claim
Yeah, but still, you know,
Now, but still.
he was nurtured. He was nurtured. Some would say that the man that Lapsam was
But listen,
was because of the West Blue.
you answered the question in yourself. He didn't last. People like
Okay.
that don't last around here. Like, you know.
Then explain
This
Dr.
is a
Hogback,
safe place.
alive and well, experimenting on
See-
people's dead bodies and stitching them together
We
with
do
animals.
There's things that happen in a society that really the public
Oh.
shouldn't know about, but they're better for the society. Like, there's
So
we
stealing
have a
people's
military-
shadows. So stealing people's shadows and making
I can either confirm
hodgepodge
nor
zombies.
I can neither confirm nor deny what he does. All I can say is Dr. Hugback's contributions to the West Blue have been
I have
Representative,
fantastic.
please just answer the question.
No,
Is
I-
Dr. Hogback making hodgepodge zombies out of people's bodies?
So I have something I'd like to also interject here. This is to build upon a previous point that our good friend Kube here, representative of the East Blue, I understand East Blue and West Blue, they might have a bit of like a polar beef, right? But just he brought up Laboon and not returning. I get that, and it seems a little bit far-fetched for somebody to expect a whale to go back up Reverse Mountain to get to where he needs to go. So he's on the opposite end of the red line. But how do you explain Shanks? Shanks allegedly claims to have been brought up in the West Blue, which is interesting, and that is its own part of, you know, conjecture, and we can battle that, but that's not necessarily what I would like to battle now. I would like to inquire to you upon why he never returned to the West Blue. Robin never returned to the West Blue. Laboon never returned. So
question.
It seems like a place that a lot of people are fleeing from. So I don't know. How do you explain that?
But what it is, it's simple. It's very, very easy, actually. It's such a safe place that they have the luxury of exploring the rest of the world without having to worry about protecting it. It's truly a paradise that nobody can dream of, but it exists. We have some of the smartest people on the planet, and we also have Bollywood Kingdom, a place of great entertainment, massive luxury. We have the Kano country, which has a fabulous military system that has very strong young men, very beautiful young strong men that are very passionate and very patriotic about protecting the West. And I mean,
You know,
it's
Representative, you paint this paradise picture of the West Blue, but is it not true that the God Valley Kingdom was wiped off the map there? Is it not true that also a baby was left in a treasure chest there? Doesn't sound very paradise to me.
Thinking about O'Hara.
I would need some evidence of both of those things.
Oh yeah.
I have never seen those reports.
Okay.
I actually I have no evidence of those.
You said that there was never a buster call in my blue. Yeah, what? Okay. So I don't know. Can we name another blue that has had a buster call? It sounds very unpeaceful, actually, now that we bring a little bit more light.
Yeah, it sounds
to
like something that happens on maybe like the Grand Line or in the New World, but I can't really think of, you know, another blue that had a buster call besides West Blue. Not a good look.
I'm actually not sure what this buster call is. We have had a couple of some bad apples that have, you know, really not followed our traditions and fallen apart. We had an island that 38 years ago completely self-imploded. Like, we don't even know where it ended up. And then we recently had another one. It was called La Lucia Kingdom, and it's I don't know what happened to these people, but we haven't heard from them in a while, and we are sending our best men on this. Our best men.
Okay, but let me ask you another question.
Ghost Train in the chat saying fake news. I love it. This is so funny.
Also,
These are the
don't you
vibes,
have,
guys.
like,
Hold on. Yeah, I have a question though for the representative of the West Blue here. Earlier in your initial speech of how great the West Blue was, you mentioned San Juan Wolf specifically, a notorious felon who was locked up in level 6 Impel Down, whose crimes were so atrocious they had to be wiped from the record. Is that true, representative of the West Blue?
I did not see the record of his crimes.
Oh, you son of a bitch.
Yeah, you kind of answered your own question there. Cube,
This is news to me.
Cube, you had a point.
I have to look into that.
Yeah, also, you know, so let's talk about, you know, what the West Blue does, you know, for criminality. Is it true that there's literally a godfather of the mobsters called Beige that has come from the West Blue? And recently,
there's this negative connotation with the word mob.
We've heard that he made dealing with joining the Big Mom Pirates, the former Yonko crew, that has done a lot of nefarious things in the world of One Piece. That's kind of weird, man. There's not a good look for you guys.
We don't like to say that we are allies with these people, but we do have to stay connected and make sure that we know what is happening. The term mob gets used very negatively a lot of times, but what it is just a group of angry people working against the law.
Okay, from the way you're answering this, I am almost convinced you are currently being held under duress. I know that it was a hostile takeover where Beige had taken out the other of the 5 families of the West. Knack, cough once if somebody else is in the room with you right now.
Sir, I assure you, the West Blue is the best blue. No
Also,
further questions.
Don't
No
you have
further
like one of the worst?
He said no
marine-
further question.
Now let me ask you a question. Oh my God.
No, I have another question. Is it true that you have one of
Okay,
the
one
worst character that comes from the West Blue called Nero from the CP9?
I was gonna say
Cypherpole?
weakest member of Cypherpole and the weakest cook in the Marines, and one of the
Wanzi
worst
as well.
characters in One Piece, Wanzi. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Cipher
Wild.
Pole? Cipher Pole?
Never heard
Yeah.
of it.
Is that the organization that I've heard whispers of this Cipher Pole?
Oh wait,
Next, you're gonna tell me about the Illuminati and
oh wait, I'm
the Rocks Pirates or something else that's made up.
Wait, I'm getting a call. Puro. Yes. Wait. Thank you for the information, Big Scoop. So apparently, there's also a guy called Garnica who was involved in the brief unalive moment for Straw Hat Luffy. wrong Straw Hat.
Oh,
Yeah, he also
just
pushed
saying.
me off a bridge once. That's now
Did?
canon because Cube said it.
that man.
Heard different fake news.
I had no idea he was from our lovely civilization, but he will not be welcome back. And I
What about
assure you,
Cornell?
that is an incident that I cannot condone. I cannot support. But
Wild.
I do recognize, and I will do better.
Okay,
So I'm gonna read a comment.
this will be the last
Dexter
thing
wrote a comment
talking
saying-
about the West Blue, and then we'll
Yeah.
move on to the next. Go ahead, Q.
Yeah, Dexter said West Blue is just where Fire Force takes place, which is a
Oh.
well statement.
Crazy. So we have now heard the claims and his defenses of all of our points as to why Knack believes that the West Blue might be one of the best places to live. That is an interesting take. We might have different agendas to spit towards our individual blues. I think the natural course of action here is to go from the west side to the east side. Cube, are you okay with that? Would you like? The floor will be yours if you're ready.
Of course. So first of all, people have heard about the East Blue, and we've heard many things, but there's one thing that keeps coming back. The East Blue is the most peaceful sea. That's the first
I've
point.
heard. Oh, sorry.
I've heard other
And
words.
another thing
Go
is,
ahead.
and I will talk about this, like we can go into the piracy, but before we talk about the piracy aspect of the East Blue, let's talk about law and order. As you know, a lot of people are backing a lot of great Marines, and obviously Monkey D. Garp, the great hero of the Marines, comes from there. There's a new Marine that is also getting a lot of eyes from the last 2 years. The hero of the Rocky Port incident. He gave himself up for against 100 Marines against the newer Yonko called Blackbeard, the one who usurped the position from a guy called Whitebeard, the former Yonko. And not only that, he also helped while he was there to get people freed. Monkey D. Garp might have disappeared in this ordeal, but he also was double claimed the hero, and that is Kube. And then there's also another Marine where people have a lot of high hopes, kind of disappeared, but people are still waiting for him. Some would say he's even the lurking Marine legend, Smoker. So in terms of the Navy, the future of the Navy is in the East Blue, my friends.
Is that a good thing?
Of course, man. Because because they're not the Navy of Sakazuki, of Fleet Admiral Akainu. They're a Navy that follow the will of Garp. And that is a great will, guys. Monkey D. Garp, if he was Fleet Admiral, there were peace around everywhere. His blue is the most peaceful blue. Imagine what he would do to the West Blue, to the North Blue, even to the South Blue, which, it's a really hard job, just saying. But, we'll talk about that a bit later on. But yeah, and then let's talk about piracy. You know, people like, you know, piracy has it's a double-edged sword. There's the good side of piracy and the bad side. Well, let's talk about the good side, right? A lot of people are talking about like great pirates like Monkey D. Luffy, Roronoa Zoro, God Usopp. Some would even claim that he reached divinity in Dressrosa. We even have, if you think about it, one of the greatest pirates of all time, Gold Roger. Cypherpulse, keep an eye on me. Gold Roger, who did it. And recently, for those who've heard the message, don't forget, Vegapunk had made crazy reveals that shows the world is much more dangerous. But he said the people to trust, and the ones who know the most, are the Roger pirates, Goldie Roger's crew. But yeah, guys, I'll let you, I have some more, but I will first take the attacks if you've got any allegations against me.
Yeah, I do. First question, don't you also have like a whole gaggle of bum fathers, such as Yasop and Monkey D. Dragon?
Heard those reports.
Well, actually, if you think about it, if you think about it, Monkey D. Dragon, in his role, he is fighting against injustice, and he had to make a sacrifice. It was the world or his kid, and obviously having his kid around would put him in danger. And if you think about it, what is this kid doing right now? At the age of 19 years old, he helped 4 to 5 countries, became a Yonko. He's also apparently had made allies with a lot of minority races, you know, something that in the South Blue, they don't take quite kindly. They don't treat them quite kindly. That's what I heard word in the streets, you know? And then if you go think even more, recently they've been talking about someone who's been underneath Dragon, the Flame Emperor, Sabo, who is also from the East Blue. Oh my God.
Everything you described
Speaker?
is to the general public a bunch of criminals who have done nothing but cause war throughout
Mr.
all
Speaker?
of the entire Grand Line in New World.
You spoke of a Monkey D. Luffy. I will remind the audience that Mr. Monkey D. Luffy is wanted for piracy, assault, theft, murder, kidnapping, mutilation, mass destruction, conspiracy, infiltration, child abuse, prison escape, human trafficking, and terrorism. Thank you.
Well, actually, if you think
There's
about it,
monetization, boys. No.
didn't you hear? Recently, there was an article of Big News Morgan explaining more in details of some of those stories. Is Monkey D. Luffy is Monkey D. Luffy truly a criminal? A person who has saved 3 to 4 nations, have made allies with the fishmen who have been scrutinized for hundreds of years. There's
You
even
say
rumors.
allies, but did he not shut down a Fishman-owned park that was resided within the East Blue?
I have seen those reports.
Actually, there was reveals that because of and it's, you know what? I am so happy you brought this up. This is also the reason why the former Shishibukai Jinbei joined Luffy, because Luffy actually shone a light on what Arlong was doing, where they even caught a ring of corrupt Marines. And that's what the East Blue does, is that even if there's crime compared to the South Blue, they call out their own, because they believe in true justice. Pirates and Marines together. And that's why Jinbei joined him, because not only did he show what the Arlong pirates were doing, they were mistreated humans. They were persecuted humans for being humans. And that is not something that we like in the East Blue, not like in the South Blue.
I'd just like to clarify, and then I have a few points. If we are continuing under the assumption that what I'm going to clarify is in fact your intent, your statement is that the East Blue is the most peaceful blue. That's your stance. Am I correct? Is this correct?
Yes.
Okay. So first point of many that I would like to bring up to you right now. Are you familiar with the Kumite tribe? Are you familiar with this group of cannibals that assaulted an innocent man on his travels? Are you familiar with the plundering of the island of rare animals? Some man stole his long treasured booty that was accruing 20 plus years of interest was taken right from underneath his nose, and he was imprisoned unwillingly
True.
inside of a treasure chest. Are you familiar with the Battle of Orangetown, a legendary battle where two future Yonko fought? And not only was a straw hat a lovely fashion accessory damaged, but that, you know, there was also a just one of the greatest characters ever, Choo Choo, who was put directly in the line of potential harm, right in the crossfires of two Yonko to be. I will let you know. We're talking about a cumulative bounty of well over 10 billion coming out of the East Blue alone. So if you were to say that it's like, oh yeah, don't come here, we're defended and stuff like that, I would, that would be a whole different argument. Your claim is that it is peaceful, and we have some of the most heinous criminals. There was even, like you mentioned with Sabo before, I would if I'm correct, his brother is Steli, right, who's the currently acting king of Goa, through regicide. He poisoned his father, his adopted father. I'm sorry, how peaceful could this be? They're burning Grey Terminal as we speak, probably for the 5th time or something. How peaceful is the East Blue, Cube?
So I'll explain why, how peaceful is the East Blue. First of all, there's been the Orangetown event is actually something that's quite interesting, even though there were two future Yonkos who made havoc. When the Straw Hats were almost going to get apprehended, the great hero of Orangetown, Choo Choo, actually stopped them. Where some actually wondered if actually the Straw Hats have a more honorable, which if you think about it, there have been rumors that the Straw Hats have done some nice things for the people of Alabasta, but it's not clear. But the other person who was considered the hero was Smoker from the East Blue. Then there's also obviously the events of Dressrosa, Fishman Island, and recently Wano getting removed from a Yonko that has stayed there for 20 years. But that's beside the point. What is peace if you think about it? Is peace an everlasting tranquility, or it is a balance, keeping a balance of peace? And that's what the East Blue does. The East Blue doesn't say that there isn't bad thing that happens here, but they have a fight. You know, it's like, in a way, it's like if we need the Revolution Army, who've recently freed 8 nations. They've got recently a lot of nice stories towards them, revealing that they might have been more honorable than the way they've been portrayed. Oh, wait a minute. I'm getting oh my God. The East,
Mr. Speaker, the 92 other nations would say those people are traitors.
The East Blue
This is facts.
is the home of the Revolution Army. People who fought for the common man. So
You know,
if you
you've
think
brought
of
up 2 different armies now. You brought up the Revolutionaries saying they're the best in the East Blue, but then you also bring up the Marines that are the best in the East Blue supposedly. But is it not true that a Marine from the East Blue station there, correct, was paid off by a group of radical fishmen to take up residence on that island and wreak havoc on the people?
yes, and think about this.
There's also
It was the East Blue when the East Blue people found out about it, specifically the Straw Hat Pirates. They went to deal with it. They didn't wait until other Marines came, because like I said previously, we take care of our own, and we keep them accountable, not like the
They
North
take
Blue.
care of their own Grey Terminal.
Okay,
That's
hold
all
on,
I'm
but
saying.
like, listen. Aside from that, you mentioned the Marines, Lucas. Good point there. I'm gonna mention the other army that he mentioned were peacekeepers. If we also take a closer look at what happened with the revolutionaries in the East, not only was Sabo bombed, and that's how he was brought in. You know, regardless of that, if we go even further back, an entire division commander of the East Blue was then captured and imprisoned, and we don't want to speak about, you know, the implications of everything that went on there. Rest in peace. But that does not sound peaceful. Like, she found peace not in the East Blue, you know. Like, I'm just saying that's heinous, horrible crimes.
I'm just saying, you know, compared to other blues, you know, we don't have healthcare issues like the North. We don't have like
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to point out...
I did finish. Slavery issues like in the South. The West Blue keeps losing islands, you know.
Never heard these allegations before in my life.
I'm just saying, you know, the East Blue is always a contest of peace. Obviously, it is not true peace, because true peace is something that's very hard to attain. But we keep on fighting our damn hardest to get that true peace. Something the other 3 blues, they just don't care.
Okay.
So, Mr. Speaker,
you have
this
something,
Marine
and then
organization you speak of,
I was just gonna say,
Yes,
Knack,
yes, so
you'll,
this is
you'll
a
be
very
able to
quick
cook,
point.
and then I'll go after you, and then we'll try to wrap up the East Blue section here very shortly. Go ahead.
You talk of the Marine forces, the Marine presence in the East. Is this also the same Marines that subjugated an entire town to control and dictatorship? Is this the same Marines that watched as an island of villagers was subjugated to torture and payments, like tribute? Is this the same Marines that hid all this under the rug? Is this the same Marines that assisted in the burning of people's homes? Mr. Speaker,
I'd like
is
to
this the
add
group of
to-
Marines you say is
hold-
keeping the peace?
Yeah, I'd like to add to that. Go ahead, Lucas, and then I'll add to that same point.
I was also going to add to it. We also have in Shellstown a Marine captain who basically treated his underlings as, lessons to be taught to other Marines. Small disobey mean death. These are the same
Actually-
Marines that keep peace.
Actually, I am so happy that you brought this up because this is actually a whole story. And you know what, Lucas? I want to pat you on the back because thank you for making my point. This is what East Blue does. Not only do they might have corrupt officials, but what do? The Marines in the East Blue? They shine a light. They show them who they are, and they don't hide them away, like in the
disagree.
South Blue.
I would actually like to disagree here. You mentioned Garp's justice. You mentioned that, because Garp handled Morgan's and because Nizumi was also handled as well. After several years worth of terror, their reigns did persist for a while until a criminal brought light to these things. Straw Hat, who you hail as a hero from the East Blue, and that's something that I'll bring up here as well as Garp's justice, is that was Straw Hat Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy, was he in fact actually abandoned by his grandfather Garp, this figurehead of justice, and left in the woods defenseless and even beaten on the head as a small child by this Garp, this just this paramount of justice that you're hailing is represented across the East Blue? Is that the justice that's represented across the East Blue? The kind that breeds criminals?
Actually, man, you put me in a... You know what? I'm going to spoil this information. And everyone, this is information from Big Scoop himself. As I revealed briefly, after training, obviously, Porky as the Ace and Monkey D. Luffy, when Garp started training Kube and El Mepo, and he's actually writing a memoir how he learned from his faults as a trainer and as a mentor for Luffy and for Ace. And so he instilled that in El Mepo and in Kube, which we recently found out that they, at least Kube in his regards, have become a great hero. And I've heard El Mepo is being truly well recognized, much better than his father. Because in East Blue, we don't put the faults on your family name. It's your actions that determine who you are.
If I may interject, you speak of this legendary hero of the Marine that trained Porcus D. Ace and Straw Hat Luffy, let's be real, criminals. But isn't it true that after abandoning his grandson in the wood, he did abandon him with a group of notorious mountain bandits?
Well, actually, that's quite...
So where did this training take place there?
Well, it's quite interesting. Well, that's the thing, by the time that Luffy was old enough, so I believe it was around the age of 7 years old, Luffy's grandfather and father's name was starting to get a bit of reputation for different reasons, obviously, because as we know, you can't always trust big news. That's why you have to trust Big Scoop. Follow me on Twitter and on X. Thank you. So he had to find the best thing option because there were some people that in the East Blue might get scared and might tell that Luffy lives with them. So he found the best possible people. Obviously, they have a path with Garp, so they would be fulfilling a promise. It might not be the best thing, but that's what the Dragon and Garp do. They do the best thing for the world, but for their family as well.
Well,
Because
Did I just hear
they
you say
believe
the renowned hero of the Marines is
but hold on.
associated with mountain bandits?
Not just mountain bandits,
actually,
but also
that-
he's associated very closely, as Dexter here in the chat has pointed out, that he is actually who trained former Admiral Aokiji, now Kuzan, one of the 10 Titanic captains of Blackbeard, a heinous criminal, an absolute war criminal, one of the people who actually facilitated a breakout of Impel. Is this the kind of justice that Garp is training people to put out in the world? In which case, if that is so, I don't know if Kube and Helmeppo are a good case for the most peaceful blue, because how trustworthy are they?
So obviously Kuzan is not a resident, but I see your point, and you're right. It merits an answer. And actually, the Kuzan thing has nothing to do with Garp. Basically, he was supposed to be groomed to become the next fleet admiral, but he was stolen that position from a horrible marine from the North Blue Vex called Sakazuki, who some people have said that he has attacked civilians. He's actually the Marines. That's what it was, 2 years ago. There was a big, obviously the big drama of when Sakazuki kind of was called Fleet Admiral. Some people were quite upset because they're saying, hey, he attacked one of my family members for no reason because he suspected injustice because of absolute justice.
You can take your jabs at the
even
North
though
Blue
you are right,
all you want,
you
but
could
my
think
platform is not a peaceful platform. Okay, that's your prerogative, not mine. Okay, we take care of business.
Wait. So okay. I'm keeping that for later on. So the North Blue is not there for peace. Okay, good to know. Good to know. Thank you.
Not at all. We chose violence, baby, but we at least we get shit done. I'm just saying, it seems like there's just a lot of criminals coming in and taking care of business where your beloved Marine hero should have done his job. And so if that's your platform, I think that it is very contestable.
Actually, and I have one last point. As we know, I've talked a few times about, recently we found out about the injustice that Wano's been happening for 20 years, which obviously the Straw Hats from the East Blue saved them from it. But you should know that there was a group of them over 50 years ago who had to escape, couldn't find a home, and the only blue that welcomed them was the East Blue, and even gave them an island where they could follow their samurai code, the Bushido way. And that is Shimosuke Village, the home of the remaining people of Wano, where they've been instilling the art style of swordsmanship and keep in between them. So I'm just saying, the East Blue,
cursed blades to children. Okay, I rest my case.
Actually,
that was the company that left Wano in shambles, if I'm not mistaken. They abandoned their post and ran away from the threat of their country.
A group of dishonored samurais is your finale?
What obviously, as you know, don't listen to Lucas. South Blue, they're paid by the world government, but it's because the East Blue is about acceptance and peace, and that is something that you will not find. And of course, is the East Blue perfect? Definitely not, but it's definitely better than the other three blues. That's for sure. we already saw with the West Blue, islands keep disappearing.
Canonically weakest blue, better than the other blues.
So do we have any?
There'll be no further questions from
do we
my
have
side.
any other? I have no further questions. Are there any other statements you yourself would like to make, Cube, or are we gonna go and move on to the next blue?
Of course, let's. No, I'm good actually.
Okay, riveting stuff, guys. I'm loving the energy this stream. I think I would be willing to go last unless you would prefer to. What do you want to do, Lucas? You want me to go or you want to go?
Let me tell you, representative of the North Blue, you can go last, but I'll be real. The South Blue's a tough act to follow. We have a storied history, starting with the Brisk Kingdom, who successfully led an expedition to Skypiea. Asterix did not return. We also have a storied history of sports, with Karate Island being one of the best places to go in martial art. Not only that, we've had multiple, everyone talks about the military presence. Our revolutionary presence is amazing. We've had multiple successful revolutions against tyrannical kings that were taken out of power thanks to the help of our amazing commander, Lindbergh, and the best designed character in the entire universe of One Piece, Gambo. We also have a island of medicine, so we are one of the healthiest kingdoms you can find. Definitely not like the North Blue. We have the Torino Kingdom, where a vast amount of medical herbs and knowledge is known by the people. Furthermore, we have an industrial area with the evil Black Drum Kingdom. Now, the lord of this kingdom, Wapol, was not born here, but he revitalized industry here. Not only that, but the women of the South Blue are built different. Porcus D. Rouge held her baby in her womb for much longer than the average woman could. We also have the Rashwan Kingdom. Sadly affiliated with the world government, but led by a man with a sweet-ass hat and a sweet-ass name, Mr. Beer the Sixth. Not only that, but one of the highest, the biggest intelligence-wise figures in this entire, crazy world that exists is from the South Blue in Cuddy Frankie Flam. You see, even though he is a notorious, the man has made incredible strides in the cyborg area of expertise. As far as other pirates, we have Lucky Roo, a fearsome member of a Yonko crew. We also have three of the Titanic captains of Blackbeard's crew. Not to mention the legendary trio from Whitebeard, Flamenco, Haruto, and Rakuyo. I definitely butchered that last guy's name. Nonetheless, all three from the South Blue. We have the pirate that keeps the game of the Davy backfight alive, Foxy, with the incredible slow fruit from the South Blue. Not to mention the amazing Sorbet Kingdom, gone through 2 revolutions. The last led by the amazing, beautiful, Tyrant. CP9, don't come after me. The Tyrant King, Bartholomew Kuma. So, yeah. South Blue stepping up. We want to talk about Marines also, Mr. Representative of the East Blue. We have the former Fleet Admiral, Sengoku. We have the Warden of Impel Down, Hannibal, and Vice Admiral Green Bull, Aramaki himself.
Vice Admiral?
He's an admiral.
Oh, Admiral, my bad. Yeah. We also have the fearsome kid pirates who sadly were murdered low diff by the fearsome Emperor Captain Red Hair Shanks. But I will open the floor now for questions about the South Blue.
Sir, is your argument the South Blue is the strongest? See?
Let me tell you, yes, in every way. Economically, medical, you name it. We have a good balance of justice. Listen, justice from the world government, but also justice from the revolutionaries, forming a complete divide. Good travel?
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the Sorbet Kingdom, we have the Rashwan Kingdom, the Samba Kingdom. Are you talking about means of travel?
So let's talk about
we have a man that can ride bikes on the ocean.
We had an incident of a ship going missing around 210 years ago, known as the St. Brice. It was carrying a large crew of people towards the Grand Line, and it just disappeared. Some say it was eaten by a giant turtle. Some say it was shot into the sky. But either way, the ship could not handle the Grand Line. Is the ultimate fate of it.
It was the successful trip to Skypiea. The trip to Skypiea was successful.
That's insanity.
Sadly enough,
like
the St. Brice's crew was definitely murdered by the savages that live in Skypiea. Okay.
Whoa, okay.
When are you going to release the documents on the St. Brice?
On what?
When are you going to release the documents on the St. Brice?
Listen, they still, even 200 years later, have that are alive, and we do not want to put the tragedy of what happened to their family members.
So
is it true you guys experiment in lobotomies?
What? Please give more examples of what you mean by lobotomies.
There was a text said to be found in the St. Brice book with a needle through someone's skull. What would you call that?
That's medicine.
Accessorizing.
Let me explain.
Cube, go ahead.
Sometimes,
after Lucas.
sometimes, some people are so mentally ill that they need to not feel feelings anymore. And sadly, it's completely voluntary and always at least in most of the South Blue. I'm not so sure in the Brisk Kingdom, maybe they do things differently.
Yeah, maybe y'all have that problem on that side of the red line. Go ahead, Cube. You had something.
Okay,
Yes.
Amber Lead.
So there was something that kind of bothered me with you mentioned a few times Sorbet Kingdom. We talk about the same Sorbet Kingdom who have been rumors of being infested with working with celestial dragons to kidnap people. Apparently Cypherpol, the infamous secret organization, has infested around the entire town, and they keep changing rulers like almost every 15 years. So that's what kind of bothers me with the South Blue. It's kind of a weird place. And wait a minute, isn't there the Sorbet Kingdom the same story about they keep seeing a lady inside a church, but people keep saying that they see her in a different age. Sometimes she's old, sometimes she's young, sometimes she's a baby.
Yes, that is Jewelry Bonnie, one of the jewels of our blue here. She is a great fearsome pirate with an age fruit. Now, I'm not sure exactly, from an outside perspective, what age she is, but we believe she is a child. So be careful, because you're talking about a child of the South Blue.
You're
I will
right.
not stand for that.
You're
Especially
right.
when I heard what you do to your children in the East Blue.
I mean, you're right.
Whoa.
I remember now. Jewelry Bonnie, the girl that had sapphire skill, at the age of 5 years old. It's true. That is much better. Thank you for making my case.
Oh my god.
See, you can say what you will, but Bartholomew Kuma was a great man. And as a great man, he freed the Sorbet Kingdom and put Connie, the rightful, back into power there.
Why did he leave?
Yeah.
He had to. I'm not sure why. Rumors do say that he had some allegiance with Vegapunk to fix some kind of disease that Bonnie had. We're not entirely sure. Pretty sure though that we do know that the disease came from a woman from the East Blue or a commander of the East Blue Revolutionary Army. So we think it was actually a tactic to infiltrate the South Blue with the disease from Marie Joie, like most presume they did in the North Blue.
Don't worry, it was debunked. All this it actually came from North Blue like usual. Don't worry, it was.
Yeah, that's funny coming from who sent the person from the East Blue. Okay.
Wild. So I'm over here taking strays. I'm fine with it. I have nothing but confidence as we approach my segment of things. I'd just like to call a few things into question here. You're mentioning the sustainability, the financial viability and independence of your blue, and I would just like to understand for a second, so you are aware of gigantic creatures like the Saiyan Goa birds basically running one of your kingdoms, people completely just in fear of these animals, and that's several different animals of a similar variety, this megafauna that is just got your individuals cowering in fear of the daylight. So I'm just like, how do you explain that?
I think you need to get your facts straight here. That was formerly, yes, these giant birds of the Taurinic were at odds with the native residents of the kingdom, but they have now come together to form one colony that lives interspecies like, and very, very beautiful, very harmonious.
Very beautiful indeed. Why couldn't
Yes.
your other kingdoms that have revolted do the same?
Well, they just couldn't stand the pressure of living under their tyrannical king anymore. It's a very understandable thing. We here at the representation of the South Blue like to stay in the middle, The government do what they do, and these kingdoms do what they do. They'll figure it out eventually.
Or just like also to call into question, there's a health risk factor as well as food waste issue that I'd like to bring up here. Have you heard of what happened to a young Miss Victoria Shirutan while she was associating with a Eustace kid and killer who may or may not be deceased, and how an entire hot bowl of soup was spilled upon this child? That doesn't seem very financially viable, nor food safe. And again, you were slandering how the East Blue handles their children, but can you explain this?
Yes, these children, it happened in a freak accident. But when you hang out with pirates, even as children, they're rambunctious bunches. You can definitely tell from the start which ones are going to be, bad apples. So Kid accidentally burning her is kind of on brand for him. Nothing too serious, just some children who unfortunately got into an accident that ended up in a scolding, if you will.
So I actually have a question, and I'm going to pivot back to something you said during my
Doesn't sound very strong.
And so you actually,
Okay,
Lucas, said something, you said something very interesting. You kind of called in question of, does the Marine truly bring peace? And it's quite interesting because a lot of those corruption stuff have been coming out lately, the last couple of years, all happened during the reign of Fleet Admiral Sengoku, who was a resident from the South Blue. But wait a minute, you guys also brought up Kuzan to me. Kuzan is also from the South Blue. So,
yes,
so my question is this: you
life choices. He's just trying to find himself.
You brought allegations of corruption in the Marines, but wouldn't you agree that the highest person in that position during that time should be held as much as culpable as all the other ones? Guilty?
Sengoku retired. He retired. He's a retired.
Well, actually, no, because most of the events happened during the reign of Sengoku. Sengoku only retired 2 years ago.
Give me
the events of Goa Kingdom. Wasn't it under his reign? Yes. Let's go in further. No, but the Fleet Admiral the Fleet Admiral has jurisdiction on everyone. Like all the Vice Admirals
not over
have
celestial dragons.
He wouldn't. I understand Sengoku's position. I'm
Are the
actually
royals...
a good friend of Sengoku. He may have given beneficial treatment to his section of the seas, but that does not change his character flaws.
Yeah, and also, but even if it actually, you might get your facts. You might have your facts wrong. So Lucas, I'm going to educate you a bit. It wasn't actually Celestial Dragon. It was just noblemen from the East Blue. That's why we called them out. But obviously, we could do so much because the higher ups in the Marines weren't that helpful. As once you get out of the East Blue, wait a minute, that higher up was Sengoku. What do you say about that?
So, rephrase your question here for me.
No,
you want to know why Sengoku allowed
so much
the
stuff
royals?
happening?
Let me ask you a question: are the royals paying the fee they need to pay to be inside of the world government?
Oh my god!
I mean, those are not royals; those are nobles from just an island.
But are they paying? Was Stelly not at the Reverie? Meaning that the Goa Kingdom is now under the world government, so they are above the commoners by world government law. What they did, while unjustified, was completely within the laws of the world government.
No, you know what? You're right. You know, honestly, it's just in East Blue, we don't care about corruption, even though it's high up. But I see in
everyone on the record, that representative just said that he does not care about corruption in his blue.
No, I said in the East Blue, you're claiming in the South Blue. That's what I meant. I meant the South Blue.
So I just had two other claims that I would like to bring up to specifically be answered by the South Blue representative here. Are you familiar with Katarina Devon?
Of course.
Are you familiar with Vasco Shot? Are you familiar with Lucky Roo?
I am.
Okay, so you understand that some of the most heinous criminals that have ever, walked the earth, some of whose actions have had to have been stricken from the record, so I cannot even cite them currently in this debate, but we are aware that some of these represent sins such as sloth and gluttony and envy and things like that, and you're talking about the financial stability of your blue, while these just completely indulgent individuals near the top of the power of what you claim to be the strongest sea, which is laughable, might I add you. These people who are indulging, and then you have individuals like Aramaki, a poor person who has become a victim of the draft, who has not had a bite to eat in over 3 years. So the inequity here is apparent.
That is strike that from the record, because his devil fruit allows him to sustain himself. Good
That
sir.
is hearsay.
Continue your question.
That is not confirmed.
That is not hearsay. That is not hearsay. That is not hearsay. We believe in free. To most of your argument, we believe in the freedom of choice. Like I said, within the South Blue. Katarina Devon, while her actions are unforgivable, had the freedom of choice. Same with Vasco Shot. Have you ever had a drink with Vasco Shot? I have. He's a great.
I think that hurts.
I have one more question.
I also had one more point before we move on. This is a point of inclusivity to also further the fact that there is an inequity throughout the wealth and culture of your blue. Since you're saying that it is so well-rounded and on all parts the best, I would like to bring up the prejudice that members of your blue have. I'm not agreeing, but the prejudice that members of your blue have displayed on several instances. Are you familiar with with an individual named Clap?
I am, yes.
Okay, so he was, due to his ethnicity, his nationality, his bloodline, he was persecuted while having no actual crimes to be stated outside of just the mere fact that he was born. And as we've been told through the story of One Piece, being born is not a crime. And but apparently in the South Blue, y'all think differently. And then hold on, one more point to add on, and then I'll let you go ahead and defend this. But we've also seen one of my favorite characters, and it's a shame to see him fallen so far for merely the point of this agenda. And I still love you, Saul. I'm so sorry. Jaguar D Saul, member of the D Clan, not the biggest, fan of the government.
You mean the savior of O'Hara?
What I mean is a person who discriminated against the, and I quote, savage war-loving giants of Elbaf. So can you answer to this prejudice being displayed by several prolific members of your blue?
Okay, what was the first one you mentioned? It was Clap, correct? That was
Clap
45 years ago, Representative. The world has changed much in 45 years.
So you're saying that 40 years ago it was acceptable in the South Blue? Good to know.
Listen, literally like 11 years ago, it was acceptable to burn people alive.
No, because the people that East Blue, fight.
Hold on. If you're taking issue with Grey Terminal, did South Blue not do it first at Sorbet? Did that not literally happen at Sorbet before it happened?
Yes, it did. But luckily, we had the Tyrant King, Bartholomew Kube, to, take in the residents of the Sorbet Kingdom.
I'm pretty sure it was the freedom fighter led by Monkey D. Dragon, who was from the East Blue, who helped him out. Just saying. Don't cast stones that you can't pick up.
Oh my god.
I have one inquiry I would like to bring up with Mr. Speaker. You mentioned the notorious battleship known as Cutty Flam, or Frankie of the Straw Hat Pirates. This man was abandoned by your blue. It was abandoned by the residents of the South Blue, and he fled to the Grand Line. What possible reason for him to flee the best place to live?
I never said it was the best place to live. I said you have the freedom of choice inside of the South Blue.
Answer the question.
His parents chose to do that to them. And once again, while I do not agree with their actions, I agree and will defend to the death their right to choose what path they want to take.
Some would contribute Frankie to such disasters as multiple island explosions.
This coming from the only blue to have a buster call?
We don't know what those words mean. What are those phrases?
Continue your questioning. Tell me more about the experiments in the West Blue. What about it?
I have no comment. But I will say personally, my life has been extended by Dr. Hogback significantly, and I can respect his research for the greater good.
So, I have one last question, and also an informative statement. We are in an era where corruption is changing across the four blues and even the Grand Line. We recently got rid of evil organization called the Shishibukai, where a lot of them were just wreaking havoc in other kingdoms and using their position to assert. My question is this: most of them were recruited during Sengoku's reign. Don't you find it that it's unacceptable that one Marine that came from the South Blue made so much trouble for so many nations?
No.
Doesn't bother you. Good to know.
That's it. That's
Once again,
No more
freedom of
questions.
choice.
Well, those nations did not have a choice. Did Alabasta have a choice? Did Dressrosa have a choice? I see where. Wait, you brought up.
None of those
these blue-
countries
wait, no,
matter
wait,
because they're not in my blue. Irrelevant
Okay.
questions.
Why?
Okay, so basically, it all depends
Listen, your
about.
blue gave birth to the most notorious pirate in history.
But-
Your Marines are
No,
down
no,
there
no,
despicable,
no, wait,
abandoning
wait.
children with mountain bandits, and you come here trying to slander my.
Calm
For
For
down,
any
calm
members
down.
of the South Blue in the
I haven't-
audience, you are welcome
haven't
in the
finished.
West.
I'm
We will
not.
accept you.
I haven't finished. You brought Lucas. You were the one who brought up the events of what happened
Yes.
in Arlong Park. Who was the
course.
Shishibukai? It was Jinbei. And who recruited Jinbei? Sengoku. How dare you use those words against me when you know that the stone started with you? You're the first domino. You're blue. Yes, you. I'm pointing at you right now. Talk to the people.
You can-
Tell them. Come on.
Tell them that Jinbei, from what I understand, is a very well-spoken man who stands in good standing with
Conjecture.
his morals. Not conjecture.
Hearsay.
You don't even know the meaning of the word. Nonetheless, I feel Jinbei had to accept an unnecessary evil to get someone that he sees as a brother, no matter how much he disagrees with him, out of the situation he was in, which, let's be real, follows the South Blue way, which is the freedom of choice.
Wild.
I don't think I don't think Sorbet Kingdom had much of a choice in the last 20 years, but okay.
Okay.
Listen.
So, closing statement, and then we'll move on to the
How's
final.
Gray Terminal?
Okay. So.
Listen, yeah, I'd like to close my arguments with this. It is the slogan of the South Blue, and it's this: South Blue, fuck you.
Okay. Wild. Okay.
Southside.
Round it in, ring it in. Okay, everybody. We have now heard from the representative of the West Blue saying that it is the most ideal place to reside. We have now heard from the East Blue representative claiming that it is the most peaceful of blues. We have now heard from the South Blue representative, whose argument was a bit spread thin, claiming that it was not only the strongest, but also that it was financially viable and just the best in every single. I would like to now spit my platform for the North Blue. And I don't care about how nice it is to live there. I don't care about how peaceful it is or your financial equity or lack thereof. I am here to tell you why the North Blue is, simply put, the strongest sea. Period. And I got to list off a few names here. Some individuals you probably are familiar with, 5 of whom were pivotal figures in the Paramount War, the War of the Best. And who were 5 of those best? Well, we have Doflamingo, we have Kizaru, we have Akainu, we have so many individuals who were just pivotal in the Paramount War. We have Law himself, Vista, who rivaled even the strongest swordsman, quote unquote. And like there's so many individuals that are ridiculously powerful throughout history, even like Mont Blanc Noland, who was capable of one-tapping sea kings and spearheading entire exploration expeditions to other blues to, bring their riches back. Dude did it single-handedly without any real need for government assistance. All he needed was permission, so that he didn't piss off people for like his king and whatnot, who was a gracious king. We love King Ayuyatayan, the 4th. He was legit until he started slandering people, but that's neither here nor there. We have Sanji, and Ichiji, Niji, Reiju, Yonji, and Judge, as well as the full Germa army. And this is somebody who was a member of MADS and a co-founder of NeoMADS, who is, spearheading absolute, scientific breakthrough throughout the world. Not everybody can have Vegapunk in their pocket like the Marines. Some people have to take science into their own hands. We have the legendary Soba Mask, who's claimed to reside or hail from the North Blue as well. We can't count that out. The legendary Ors, if we're talking about historical figures, Ors the First, presumably, is, the continent puller himself, comes from the North Blue. We have Beppo, who one-tapped Blackbeard, mind you, in his Sulong form. We have Karasu, possibly the strongest of the, commanders outside of the actual top 3 in the Revolutionaries. We have Sugar, who has crazy hacks, and just great skin for someone of her age. We have Beckman. Ben Beckman is from the North Blue. This is crazy. Like, these are just the A team people that I've listed off, yet I haven't even mentioned the B team, such as Hawkins, Drake, Suru, Bellamy, Cricket, Shachi, Penguin, Treble, Diamante, Virgo, Pika, the whole crew there of the Don Quixote family. We have Doc Q and Pizarro, Bluno, Jabra, Who's Who, Kujaku, Hibari, Krakens like Surume, Miss Golden Week, Fosa, Thatch. We have so many pivotal figures coming from this blue. It is just full of powerhouses. I didn't even feel right putting some of these people in the B team. They are so stacked with power. We have powerful locations like the Germa Kingdom, who took place in the conquest of 4 nations. These are the dudes you call when you need 2 dudes in Power Ranger suits to solo an entire war. These guys are stacked. They also, the Saint Germain, which they sail upon, are the biggest snails we've ever seen in the entire story. And they have an entire clone army at their disposal as well. They can scale the red line. Nothing is stopping them. Like, we have the North Pole breeding ground for Krakens. That's right, multiple, plural Krakens. Surume was a baby compared to what we've got swimming down there in the Davy Jones locker section. We also have the Swallow Island, which was where Wolf, a scientist, again, like Judge, an inventor of sorts, invented the Polar Tang, a submarine. So when you talk about exploration, you can't not talk about the Polar Tang. You can't not talk about Noland, who was spearheading botany as well as exploration. You want to talk about the Blue Gorillas, who are doing public service, helping keep the peace in Impel down, who are able to hunt down Sea Kings for food and sport. These things are so ridiculously strong, it's crazy. You want to talk about the fact that we're on the side of the red line that is on the same side as the New World. When people who are like ridiculously strong, who can sail through calm belts, feel like leaving the New World, guess where they end up? They end up here, because this is where the strong people are at. You want to talk about the cold, frigid waters that allowed Shachi and Penguin to help very, very competently take on some of the Blackbeard pirates. We're talking about the North Blue here. When you want to talk about Sora, the Warrior of the Sea, when you want to talk about revolutions that are taking place, not even needing the Revolutionary Army. They're talking about in the Reverie, 4 nations that were allying together to claim independence from the world government. They didn't need the Revolutionary Army to do this. They were strong enough to do it on their own. When you want to talk about Reverie, we have multiple kings who have been invited to the Reverie, like Chap, like Iwatobi, and if you want to count Judge, you can count Judge as well. That's 3, count them 3. You want to talk about 5 different Logia fruit users coming from one blue, you're talking about the North. You want to talk about the home of the ultimate devil fruit in the Ope Ope no Mi, that's the North Blue. Then we have the Hobby Hobby fruit, which is Hacks, and over 21 other devil fruit users hailing from here. We had 3 supernovas, 3 Whitebeard division commanders, 2 admirals, one of whom is the fleet admiral, 2 sword members, 2 of the Titanic captains of Blackbeard's crew, 2 former warlords. We had 2 of the right hand men from chapter 1031's color spread in Beckman and Beppo. both god tier, I would say. 2 Cypher Pool agents, 3 if you count Who's Who. We had one of the Toby Ropo, at least 3 Reverie invited nations. Remember, there's only 50 of those, so we got a good number there. Probably the strongest of the Revolutionary Army commanders. Again, a member of MADS and a co-founder of Neo-MADS. We had at least one of the 6 Devil Fruit capable of granting the power of flight come from our blue, which is Buffalo's spin fruit, and I'm not even counting the Logias there. We had the continent puller himself. We had, I honestly, I feel like aside of the heavy hitters that some of you guys might be able to list off, like your Sengokus and your Garps and, you know, whatever they've got in the West, like outside of some of the heavier hitters, I feel like all of your fodder is cleared by the Germa army alone, or maybe the Don Quixote family. Then not to mention the Heart Pirates. Like, I'm not even mentioning my heavy hitters here, but you guys are cooked. You guys are packed up. This is the strongest sea, bar none. And I don't think there's really going to be much room for questions, but I'll go ahead and open the floor now.
I have just one before I let the guys.
I have questions.
No, I just have one thing. I didn't one thing. I'll let you guys spit. It's 2 seconds. When you say Hawkins, you talk about Basil Hawkins, the only unalive supernova member. Okay, thanks.
I'm sorry.
You guys can go.
Lucas,
what was your question? Let me address this fully and with my undivided attention. What exactly was your question?
I answered to myself. I realized it is indeed the only supernova member who isn't living anymore. I realized
he answered his own question.
Yeah,
that is not confirmed.
Hawkins
could appear any chapter.
Was it not is it not speculated that Montblanc Nolan was a notorious?
You cut out what?
Just a ball in his eyes. Oh, I said, was it not speculated that Montblanc Nolan was a notorious liar?
Speculated, never confirmed.
Who died
Again,
crying?
I'm gonna need you guys to bring actual arguments.
It's a story, children. Okay, and is his ancestor
a
Montblanc
storybook is your site?
That's your sighting? Listen, okay, you multiple times in your opening statement came up on Sora as a fictional character. So, Okay. Now, is his grandson, Montblanc Cricket, not a crazed man who keeps diving into the sea trying to find something that has never been confirmed to be real?
I'm sorry. Were you the one who was standing on the platform that Skypeans were what was wrong with the St. Brice expedition, and now you're de factoing to the fact that it might or might not exist now? I need you to pick a platform and stick to it.
Just going over what your kingdom has spread to the rest of the world in its storybooks and tellings of the history of Nolan.
It's culture, okay? It's
now,
fiction,
another question.
But it's based off of reality, and I'm not here to defend the fiction. I'm here to defend the reality of the case, okay?
Listen though. Another question. In your kingdom of Flavins, did you or did you not allow the world government to massacre men, women, and children to stop the spread of a disease that was never confirmed to be contagious?
As far as records show, it was confirmed to be contagious. Whether one independent scientist study wants to combat that or not is not what you asked in your question, so I'm not going to really dive too deeply into that. And also, you as well as I know that whatever the world government is going to do, they're going to do, and we have had recent revolutions independent from the Revolutionary Army to combat these things, but unfortunately back in the days of Flevance, for the case of economic growth, the world government was able to, not allowed to, but able to perpetrate such crimes. I don't think it's nearly as bad as what happened at Batteria in the south, but yeah, that happened. But again, it led to further economic growth than I think any other blue has seen. Amber Lead was sought after across the world for over a century.
Now it's Wappo Middle. Just want to say that. But then you have Vince Polk Judge, leader of the German kingdom, a kingdom considering they lost their land a long time ago, who manipulated the genes of his children, monstrous activity, and locked one of his sons in a cage for quite a long time. Didn't he even attach an iron mask to the boy's head?
See, I'm not here to talk about ethics or morals. I'm here to talk about raw strength. And would you or would you not say
Yeah, but you talk about
son? Listen.
Raw
Would
strength?
you or would you not say that son who had gone through that treatment did not end up being the strongest member of the Germa army? It builds character. That's all. That's what I'm gonna say right here.
But they don't claim him. But they don't claim him.
Blue.
Genetics.
Claim.
Okay. You can claim him as the East Blue all you want, but let's be completely real.
Didn't the Germans? Didn't the Germans fail? We're not gonna talk about that. Didn't the Germa fail on Whole Cake Island? Did they not fail when Kuzan? Hold on. Did they not fail when Kuzan?
Also, a reminder.
If you want to talk about failures,
From where?
Hold on.
Baby.
Listen, if you want to talk about failures and Kuzan in the same breath, you can't do it without talking about Sakazuki, who's from the north. Thank you very much.
Sakazuki, he slaughters his own soldiers.
Strength. He doesn't want the weakness. That's why the north is the strongest. Thank you very much for making my point for me. Kube, you had something? Go ahead.
You
also claim.
Wait,
I'll go after Kube. Yeah.
It's so strong that.
No, I need to go after Kube. I have.
Yeah, I'll let
very
Akira
pressing
me.
things
Mine
to
is
say.
very quick. Yeah, the North Blue is so strong that Admiral Kizaru, for some reason, cannot take care of a retired Rayleigh, and failed twice to capture Straw Hat Lucas. And also his protege, Sentomaru, defected. Luffy, dude, you have such a similar name. Change name.
Never been a problem in the past 3 years, but a problem doing this twice.
Kube, I'm sorry. I was getting praise in the chat. Can you repeat your question one more time? My attention was divided. I want to give you my undivided attention.
No worries, man. You keep talking about the strongest blue, but didn't Kizaru fail to stop a retired Rayleigh in Sabaody and twice failed to capture a Straw Hat Luffy? And there's been a lot of indications that his protege, Sentomaru, defected recently after the Egghead incident.
Listen.
That's not very strong.
Listen. Okay.
Didn't Kizaru get washed by Luffy as well?
If you want to talk about Kizaru, I can respect that. You go for one of the weakest links in my chain, and he is very strong. So me saying that, it's pretty crazy. As far as my A team goes, I understand he is probably the lowest hanging fruit for you to come at, especially with recent events. What I will say is 2 words: mental nerf. This is a man who is not fighting at his full force. And that's what the Marines will do to you. That's what trying to live under justice, quote unquote, the justice, like Garp's justice, like that the East Blue claimed, as that like it deteriorates at your will. And so Kizaru is not in his prime fighting for him, but if this were 20 years ago, it'd be a completely different story.
Basically, you're basically excuse. Nak, just go, Nak. He's just finding excuses.
Just go. Well, it's very simple.
Excuses.
I have something very, very simple for all this, and I don't know if we're all going to agree. But Vex is correct. The North Blue is the strongest sea. And when people are sick of living in chaos and war and fighting, they come to the West. And it just solidifies my argument. I can't argue with his statement. So at the end of the day, yes.
When they wave the white flag,
the North is the best.
They might go your way, but when they pick up arms, like they know which sea is the strongest sea, and it's the North. You don't beef with the North, and if you're not built like that, don't come around here. That's all I'm gonna say.
We have colonies that actually hire some people from the North, so I respect it. Yes, the North is the strongest sea, but it's not the best place to be.
Yeah, and he keeps bringing up this A team as well, but let's look at the Doflamingo Pirates alone. Don Quixote Doflamingo, captured, locked and impelled down. Treble, captured. Diamante, captured. Pika, captured. Machweiss, captured. Gladius, captured. Giola, captured. Lao G, probably dead. Senior Pink, defeated by Frankie of the South Blue.
Grand Line.
Okay, so
and plus you
Frankie
claim
from the Grand Line.
Doflamingo, but if you want to make that when Frankie was born and spent the first few years of his life in the South Blue, which means he's from the South Blue.
He was abandoned by the South Blue.
Does not matter. Listen, Doflamingo is from Marie Joie.
Okay.
His first memories are being a celestial dragon.
Let's talk about this.
Let's talk about this.
He came down.
The floor has
about
been
this.
opened.
Hold on. All right. If I could just spit, and I'll go ahead and strike down any of these accusations of Doflamingo not being from the north. Okay. You wanted to claim that Sanji was from the east, which is laughable, and that's because he was raised there.
Very
Doflamingo was raised in the north. Doflamingo, Don Quixote Doflamingo, as well as Corazon Rocinante, the goat, rest in peace, were both grew up in here. They learned everything that they know
Killed by
about
Doflamingo.
the surface here. That's fine. It's just a strength feat. But then we have to look at homing. Don Quixote homing had chose to come down from on high, and let's recognize the durability feats that other celestial dragons have shown, like Charlos. So we know that these guys are not made of glass. These guys are tough as nails, mind you.
And explain his wife dying from a sickness.
Okay, first of all, don't interrupt me. Thank you.
That was tragic. That was tragic. We don't need to talk about that.
And physical constitution.
Tragically hilarious.
Okay, wild. We're gonna need the South Blue to calm down. Okay, but so homing was taken down by commoners. He was brought to his knees by commoners. Yes, it was his own son Doflamingo who ended up dealing the final blow. Again, a strength feat at 10 years old, mind you. But mere commoners in the North Blue were able to bring a celestial dragon, again, super crazy durability feats, to their knees. This is something that New World residents such as Don Sai and Leo, who are hockey users, were not able to do to Charlos. Mere fodder amongst the North Blue is stronger than Grand Fleet members. That's what I'm going to claim here. Y'all aren't ready.
You hear the silence?
The strongest. The silence is proving my point that you guys don't have anything to claim.
No, actually, Vex. No, actually, Vex, because I was a bit
strong
confused.
players are either captured or dead.
Yeah. Also,
Just
Vex. There's also something that I want to be sure, because I've been trying to look. Do you have any, because you considered him as one of the top dogs in your A team, air quotes A team? Who of very powerful did Ben Beckman fight against, like an actual feat? Because all I hear is hearsay.
Okay, so another one of the strongest in the verse, unfortunately nerfed due to his mental status, Kizaru, was quaking his
A lot of
boots
nerfing,
to
a lot of
Ben
nerfing
Beckman.
in the North Blue.
Hey, I'm not Oda.
A lot of nerfing in the North Blue.
I'm just a humble reader of One Piece, a lover of One Piece, a community member, and somebody who likes to spit content with a lovely crew. And all I gotta say, I'm just reading the story as it is. Okay, I don't write it, but Ben Beckman is said to be the closest to his captain's level amongst all of the Yonko commanders. And Shanks is regarded as potentially, if not definitively, the strongest of the current 4 Yonko. So that would put Ben Beckman above Zoro. That would put Ben Beckman and so this is statements from the author himself, Ichiro Oda, since we're talking about who's writing the story. So if you're reading the same story that I'm reading, you would know that Ben Beckman is him. Thank you.
Okay, you claim that Shanks was like the strongest, but is it not true that he was held up at Marineford fighting Kaido, and the match ended in a stalemate? But then Straw Hat Luffy defeated Kaido.
I don't see what that has to do with my opinion.
Luffy, the strongest. I'm just saying.
I don't see what that has to do, seeing as Shanks is from the west and Luffy is from the east. That has nothing to do with my blue. Thank you.
Shanks is from Marie Joie.
Hearsay.
We can get into this.
We don't
There's no evidence he was born there.
We don't have his public birth records, so I'm gonna need you to. We'll strike that from the record. Thank you.
I need to see the birth certificate. I need to see the birth certificate.
I know he was a baby when he was in the West, so that's all I can say. I mean,
I just need to know
if somebody wants to birth a child and take a newborn on a 10-month-long journey across the world. I mean, that's their prerogative, but there was no documentation of that ever happening.
Well, see, what I need to know is you mentioned this A team and B team. How many of both those teams are still active?
Okay, I'll go through the A team right now. We have Sanji. Sanji is still active and ever been more active, actually,
Yes.
as prolific as he has ever been, right? We have Kizaru and Akainu being the acting fleet admiral. Thank you very much. Never taken an L to anyone
He
in
sits
the
all the
entire
time,
series.
but okay.
And if we're talking about the author and things that the author has stated, he has also stated that if Akainu were going for the One Piece, which we have officially seen in the 12 individuals shown in that panel in the end of that chapter recently, that he is now interested in the One Piece, he would have it within a year. It means Akainu going into action and being less passive has now put the entire series on a 1-year clock. This one man taking one step forward has done that, and he's never been more active. Law has been very recently active and is also confirmed to still be alive, unlike a Eustace kid from the south. Thank you very much. Doflamingo is
He's heavily injured, but okay.
Doflamingo is an active reader of the newspaper. So there's that. We have
He's
Vista.
incapacitated, but okay.
The only thing active is his neck.
Okay. We have Vista,
Listen.
who is
Listen.
probably still alive after the Payback War and is potentially teaching the next generation of swordsmen. We can assume that's hearsay though, so I'll rule that out. Beckman, Shanks had to ask him, like, hey Beckman, do you think it's time for us? Like, I'm just saying, I don't know any other, like, you know, first commanders, right hand men that their captain has to ask them, like, hey, do you think it's time? In fact, I think we have one from the South Blue who ignored his right hand man definitively in the face of Shanks and Beckman. Thank you. Rosie gets it.
Listen. We don't need Shanks. We're still the safest. Shanks is
Okay.
out there playing
still
world
going
politics.
through-
This
I'm
man
still-
understands the game.
I'm still going through the active members of my A team. Then we have Karasu. Karasu
okay,
being
fair.
more pivotal in the Revolutionaries plot than even Dragon and Sabo themselves. I'll say that right now. Then we have Soba Mask.
Wild take, but okay.
Wild statement. Say that to the 8 nations who claimed Sabo as a flame emperor. Just saying.
Sabo's
Those
perched
nations
up.
are considered traitors.
Sabo is perched up. He's a face. Okay, he's not the muscle. He's not the utility of the operation, and we all know that. Then we have Soba Mask. Soba Mask is we can't
A
even
fictional
realistically. I would like to. Are we even serious right now?
Challenge.
Yeah, I would challenge that.
Challenge.
Then we have Beppo. Beppo is still very active in rescuing his crew after one-tapping Blackbeard, a Yonko. Thank you very much. We're not going to talk about performance-enhancing drugs. That's not a part of, like, that doesn't rule you out when you're being considered the
Mr.
strongest sea.
Speaker. Mr. Speaker. The reports say that Blackbeard pirates wiped out the Heart pirates on Winter Island.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So
big facts.
this was an ambush where we had one person carrying the team.
Meaning strongest. Meaning strongest. Ambush doesn't, nerfing. It seems that there's a lot of excuses for when your strongest members of your blue gets defeated or have trouble.
Listen,
There's a lot of excuses. Being the strongest means that nothing would deter you.
If
Nothing
we
would stop you.
barely take the L from an active emperor, I'm kind of okay with that, because I don't know what anyone from any of your blues are doing with emperors, like outside of trying to put them on a pedestal.
I mean, we're taking from the blue. We're taking them out.
We run the government from the shadows.
Someone from my blue also took out an emperor. Okay, chill there. Cube.
Listen. I just need to say, nobody has made the case that the West isn't the best place to be.
Dude, it's not the best. Everyone's leaving the West. Everyone's leaving the West, dude.
Listen. That's because they're free to do so.
You can
When
have
people
your
leave the West, they say, "Oh, thank God, I'm blessed not to be in the West anymore."
you can
That's what
have
they say.
your cowards and your
That's what I heard as
tourists. You can have your Buster Calls and whatnot, and I'll take the strongest, because that's what we do
Buster
here
what?
in the North.
Buster what's?
Strongest, but all of them have been defeated. Okay.
I'm sorry. Did you not hear my A team? I'm sorry. Who has defeated Beckman? Name one individual.
That's okay. I will concede there. That's one. That's one.
Okay, who has defeated
Hell,
Karasu?
one of your pirates
Who has
was
defeated
captured.
Soba Mask? Who has defeated Beppo? None. No one. You can't name a single person who has defeated some of these members. Who defeated Ors? The environment. That's like that's just to speak. That's just
the
to
environment
speak the
doesn't kill anybody in the West.
The frigid North is just our climate is so strong that it's able to take people down. That's just to speak to how powerful the North Blue is. That just helps my case.
Sounds like a rough place to be.
Yeah, and that's fine. You know, if you're not strong enough, only the strong survive in the North. That's why we're the strongest. Okay. Like.
By the way, Vex, you should know. Beppo did take an L, remember? He was defeated on Zhao against Jack, the weakest of the 3 commanders of Kaido. Just saying.
I don't recall
he did
that.
take an L, man.
No, Jack has only taken L's, so I don't actually recall that. If anything, it was a stalemate, which there's an L in stalemate, but Beppo's top of the verse. He's actually him. But yeah, like Vista, who was able to clash with again a Yonko as well as the quote unquote strongest swordsman in the world. Like my team is stacked, and I haven't even gotten to the B team as far as people who are still active.
Was it really a fair fight? I mean, Mihawk was having an entire conversation with himself while looking at Vista. It felt more like a pity fight for Mihawk more than anything else.
Regardless, I don't hear.
Let me ask you: can any of your Whitebeard commanders?
Go ahead.
Can any of your Whitebeard commanders create a pocket dimension?
I don't see how that is relevant in strength, but I do have probably the strongest of the remaining Whitebeard commanders, Vista. And then I also have I have Fosa, and rest in peace to Thatch, but Thatch was him. Thatch was only taken down by a Yonko. That's the only L he has in the story. So again, if we're going up against Yonkos, I mean that's something. You've had a few of those from each of your blues, but I'm just saying we have nothing but the best
I have
here.
someone who ran over a Yonko and smiled while doing it.
And it did 0 lasting damage. Congratulations.
Doesn't matter. Hit her with a radical beam and it did some. Boom.
Wait a minute. In a world where hockey is the true word for power, was it someone that was claimed by Kaido that the person who had the strongest hockey came from the North Blue? Oh yeah, no, it was from the East. Sorry.
Yeah, you have one gem out of a bunch of coal.
Dead.
We have at least 30 confirmed hockey users. We have at least almost 30 confirmed Devil Fruit users coming out of the North. You have 3 coming out of the East Blue? That's cute. Sit on down, bro. Come on.
Because we believe. I mean, because guys,
Gold Rogers
because we believe in quality, not quantity. That's the difference.
I mean, he may have been strong, but he died. He couldn't have been that strong.
Of an illness. He was going to die of an illness.
Yeah,
illness.
He died to himself.
Yeah,
Blue.
Yeah, and then think of the North Blue. Think of the amount of kids. I have a question. Isn't also the North Blue where Law, this great character, lost his sister who was burned in the hospital while she was still in pain? I don't think
it's as bad as what happened.
Things happen everywhere.
I don't think it's as bad as what happened in Bataraya. An entire generation,
So I'm gonna ask. So I'm gonna ask just one question: Is the North Blue really? Is the North Blue?
Happen, mistakes are made.
Isn't North Blue the strongest because people just fight all the time, or is that there's lost so many people? Just people who have a weaker body just happen to die, and so all that's left is the strong people. Doesn't sound that strong as much. It sounds more like de facto, you're the new strongest.
I just gotta point out too, Doflamingo right now imprisoned by Hannibal, a Marine officer from the South Blue.
Let's get this to the audience. Let's go to maybe a couple more points for everybody's blue, and then throw it to the audience.
Just to answer the South Blue, and it's it's very biased a statement just there. I would like to go ahead and state that it took an admiral, a Revolutionary Army second commander. It took a future emperor. It took 2 I'm sorry, the former fleet admiral, as well as the military genius Suru from the North Blue, mind you, a vice admiral, to bring Doflamingo in to justice, as well as Law, another powerhouse from the North Blue. All of these individuals were in play here. Hannibal did nothing.
Yeah, but he's still under Hannibal's heel, so.
Okay, let's go around the table, get final statements from everybody. I'm gonna go first just because I started. I still think the West is the best place to be. I accept Vex's premise that the North is the strongest, but nobody wants to live in that chaos. Let's relax. Let's enjoy what the infrastructure provides us, the protections the mafia provides, and stay out of people's business. The West is the best.
It's not, but I believe that leads us to Kube.
Okay, it's my. So obviously for me is the East Blue always looks for the perfect balance of peace. It's a journey, we don't always make it for them, but we shine a light on when it's injustice, but that's our thing, because we don't need to be like the best or the strongest, or or whatever the South claims to be. Every day it changes. We just try to look for peace and we adapt to our people, and we try to give the best option for everyone in this peace. But like we said, we do our best, and that's where we are. We're just real. Lucas.
Yeah. Well, you see, the South has everything you could ever want. It has industry, it has growth, it has the freedom of choice. To be from the South Blue, that's an honor. We might not be the strongest, but we are the best to live in. We are the best when it comes to science. We are the best at medicine. I mean, our women, once again, best. They can hold their babies for so long.
Wow.
We just the best in general. Southside.
Man,
So his platform is that he has no platform, but I'm here to tell you, North Blue is the strongest.
literally
seed.
took everything we all said.
Yeah. His platform is that he has no platform. You
I
can
don't know
have
what
your
you're talking
peace,
about.
you can have your women with extremely long pregnancy terms, and you can have your tourism and vacation destinations. But if you are truly
But do you
the
have medicine?
strongest, you belong in the North. The poll is active. We have some of the best doctors that have
If
ever
you're the
existed,
strongest-
actually.
If you're the strongest, but you have been defeated, that go to the North.
Wild. That's
That's what I'm
hearsay.
hearing. That's what I'm hearing.
You're cherry picking.
It's not
Your
hearsay.
argument is invalid.
It's facts.
But the poll is active. If you guys are truly, part of the strongest, then to vote for the North, or you can vote for whatever Lucas said. But chat, we love you
vote for me.
regardless. This has been so fun. This has been such an interesting
It's been a
stream.
fun-
I'll, I'll lower the price of chibi dongos if you vote for me.
It's not even what they're called.
I will say
yeah.
now the votes are starting to come in, and it seems like everybody's got their piece in. This was a blast. Absolutely, everything everybody said was completely just for fun. Like, we're just having a laugh here. But at the end of the day, yeah, we give 4 different arguments because we didn't think we should come down and argue about which is.
Because it's no
Power scaled or
contest
whatever,
who is the strongest if we were to power scale.
It's been a great time.
It's no contest which is the best because it gave birth to Frankie.
Okay.
There we go again.
What I'm happy about this is no one tried to slander other people's blues while they had the chance to talk. It's good. We were respectful.
Yeah, it was
Right,
a
that
great
totally
fun.
didn't happen.
And I
3
appreciate all you
times.
guys in chat.
Yeah, I didn't interrupt Vex like 9 times. Like,
Yeah. But we're gonna keep the poll open for a little bit longer. Bring all of your alts in, and make sure you guys vote for the North. I mean, vote for your favorite
Knack-
or whatever.
Knack is
Go
having
to
a
the south.
comeback. Knack is having a crazy comeback. I don't know if you just saw what he just did.
But yeah.
Right.
But while we're waiting for the results and whatnot, we want to make sure to remind you guys, chat, that you're goated. If you're watching this in the future, leave a comment, tell us who you would have voted for. And if you're here live, make sure you guys have liked D's stream. We really appreciate you all showing up. and vibing with us while we just like spew agendas at you. It's like I said, it has been a lot of fun, and no hard feelings, nothing but respect for everybody here in all of the panel, as well as you in the chat. Make sure you check out all the links in the description as well. Support our individual endeavors, like our goat Knack Reacts here, who's watching through Freerun right now, Straw Hat Lucas, who has his rambling addictions and chapter reactions every weekly on his channel. And we've got a lot more fun streams planned for you guys in the future, as well as chapter discussions, which have been popping off thanks to all of you. So much appreciated, guys.
Yes, thank you for that.
Yes, we agree. The Grand Line would have taken it hands down. The Grand Line out of this competition.
Yeah, thankfully, 3Day wasn't here. She was gonna.
He cut out entirely.
If she had showed up, she would have destroyed us.
Okay.
Oh, dang it! I said. Luckily, 3Day sadly today couldn't be with us today, but she had the Grand Line in like the whole New World and Paradise. We would have lost.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, I mean, we all know it's going to end with the all blue, so we're all going to be winners at the end of the story. Seriously.
But the south part of the all blue is going to be the best.
But just stop.
Yeah, Dexter put it in chat.
Southmost unhinged.
Man said, thankfully 3Day isn't here, and then cut out, and I was like, ain't no way. He just oh,
I love 3Day too much to slander her like that.
She would have dog walked all of us. We have
that's what I'm saying.
We have 17 votes. Let's try and get it to at least 20, and then we'll go ahead and close the poll off. So everybody, make sure you're getting your votes in. We love you, 3Day.
I'm gonna propose something. The person who has
3Day, vote for me.
The person who has the lowest vote, I propose he dress up as Senior Pink for the next stream.
Oh my god.
No.
Why, Lucas?
Are you scared, Lucas?
Because no.
12% now over here.
11. Listen. 11. No. If that's the case, the person with the canonically kiss blue has to. I don't know.
Say you love the community.
Yo, that's so. Oh my god. No,
Say the South Blue's the best.
Whoever's in last place has to bootlick for whoever's in first place for the next like 2 streams. So if hypothetically, like let's say Lucas, who has been in a solid last place this entire time, the full length of the poll, and you know had the weakest argument, if hypothetically Lucas was to lose and the South Blue lost, then he'd have to bootlick whoever is currently in the lead, which looks like it's Kube. If Kube is in fact the winner for the next 2 streams. Lucas is gonna have to do that.
This is crazy.
I think that's a fine, you know.
What stream was chat watching? The East being peaceful. What? We haven't seen a safe place in there yet.
Right? Nobody forget what happened to Buggy in that cover story with the Kumite tribe. Not peaceful at all.
Every single island was in chaos. Like, what are we even talking about?
I'll say this. I am convinced that not everyone has been there since the beginning. So if you miss, let's say, the West and the East at the beginning, if you like a Pacific Blue, they'll just vote for it as well.
Yes, if you did miss any of our arguments, we laid out our main arguments at the beginning of the stream. So if you are catching up right now, go back and check it out.
It's crazy that I have 100%.
I'm sorry, he keeps cutting out.
What did you say?
Did I cut out again?
The void is taking.
Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah, I said it's crazy that I have 110% of the vote rate.
Wild. So see, he's been
Crazy
he's been conflating factoids and inflating his argument this entire time, and this is just evidence. It's a tactic.
I won this
I didn't
election.
even have to explain that the West was the birthplace of real music as well. But again, the audience
Listen, guys, you
got
need
the
to.
answer.
I won this election. It was stolen from me. Storm Marie Joie.
Crazy. Where was Lucas on January 6th?
He was at Marijoa
Yeah, no doubt.
with the Revs.
Okay, so we have hit
But again,
20
thank you guys.
votes. I'm gonna go ahead and close the poll out right now. There we go.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, it was a close one. I won't lie.
Wow,
Because
I
Knack at one point, dude, you almost like me and Victor were tight, and you almost caught up to us, and then there was then you stayed where you were. I said, dude, you came fast at one point.
Pause.
My argument is sound.
So,
Lucas, I can't wait for next stream.
we have a declared winner from the chat, although it is incorrect. The number one voted argument is that the East Blue is the most peaceful sea, with 34% of the voters have been swayed by his propaganda. The second place runner-up, we have that the North Blue is the strongest sea. 30% of you were not swayed by propaganda and were absolutely steadfast and strong in holding your will. And then we have the West Blue, where 25% of the vote was made up of Knack and Dexter's alts. So then we have the South
That's
Blue.
lies. Kush voted for me too.
We have South Blue in dead last with 10% of the vote, which must be misinputs, and then Lucas. So that's like 3 votes right there or something. But W's all around for the most part, I would say, especially for me and Kube.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, it was fun.
Oh my god. But agenda aside,
It was a
much
good
love. Yeah, much love for everybody here, especially the captain. And although I don't rock with the South Blue, I love you, Lucas. I'm so sorry for laying it on thick.
Listen, the South will rise again.
Okay.
Oh my god.
I mean, hey man, listen, the South can't do any worse. They can only go up, so awesome stuff.
This is like how we actually get borderline, cut off. Like these type of streams.
Oh my god. But,
What a blast though. Thanks guys for showing up.
Absolutely. Anyone have anything they want to say before we go ahead and wrap it up? It's been a cool hour and a half and some change, and I've had a blast. But anyone here else got anything they want to say?
Yeah, this was hilarious.
Lots
No,
of
go to
respect for all
stream.
you guys. Yeah, lots of respect for all you guys. Like Vex said, it's nothing personal. We're just having fun, and we will do something else like this in the future. I can see it. It was an absolute blast. 3 Day seems to be stoked to get in on the next one, so look forward to it.
Hell yeah.
In the next one, we're gonna try to sell you guys islands from the Grand Line.
Oh man, I'm actually so down for that. Yeah.
Well, it cannot be from the West Blue, but there's like four islands left after everything that happened the last couple of years.
Oh
so.
my god.
I'm gonna try to sell somebody Lucia.
Still
Okay,
have no idea what you.
What is that?
So,
what is that place?
You say this, and it's like you talk about this. Oh, her. What is her? Oh, what was it called again? What did you say the island was called?
And oh my goodness.
But yeah, and if you guys want to, maybe suggest some future stream ideas and stuff like that, make sure you join the Discord. Top link in the description. We're constantly in there, spitting, just vibing, random chapter discussions and impromptu stuff, talking about things all the time, talking about random stuff. Watch parties are planned in the near future. But yeah, you guys could tell us another stream idea that you want, and we might put that on soon. We do have, like I said, some more goated streams planned in the future, but when we can get to it, if it's something we vibe with, we're definitely going to bring it to the chat. So that do that if you haven't already joined the Discord. That would mean a whole lot to us. Make sure you guys are subscribed. And Kube, you want to send us off?
Yes, we'll see you all the next sunrise.